All right, this lesson is going to talk about how to solo over progressions based on like E minor. So we would be in the key of G, but E minor is like our tonal center if we start out with E minor. So the chords involved are going to be like the C, the B minor. The other song we're going to use a D. So chords in the key of G, but we're going to be feeling like we're in an E minor scale. We're going to try to keep track of which notes are in the chords as they pass so that we can play over the change as well. Okay, so one of the things is going to be that's called Prison Song by Carlton Williams. That's on that Selma soundtrack dedicated to Martin Luther King. So once again, that's like a E minor, C, B minor, E minor. And this one was by request from one of the channel's favorite friends, Dare to Be Yourself. All right, buddy, appreciate you. So we got this E minor, C, B minor, E minor. Now the other song we're gonna do is gonna be Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. This arpeggiates an E minor chord, goes to D, B minor, and then C. So that's your repeating underlying guitar part. And then of course you had the excellent Eddie Hazel, or Eddie Hazel, however you say his name. The excellent, one of the greatest leads of all time, I would say, the Maggot Brain lead. I'm going to show you not how to play his riffs, but how to improvise your own solos over a progression like this. So I've got a loop going with this, so I'm going to kick that on. First thing, think about your E minor pentatonic. So a lot of the times he's soloing, he's just kind of playing with that E minor pentatonic, but there are different notes with each of these chords that you really need to see where some of their chord tones land in order to effectively kind of play over these changes. So here's a D chord. Think about that D shape. Now we got a B minor. That's a little part of a B minor. That's part of a C. So you want to see these different kind of chord shapes around. So here's the E minor. And then we got our D. Think about this D shape here. And then B minor. Here's a C shape. That's where you really want to see your triads. So here's E minor again. Little D major kind of shape notes. B minor. There's a C note. Little triad. That's part of that D triad. This is part of the B minor 7 arpeggio. You got C. So you want to see all these different shapes where these chords are. Here's another E minor triad shape. There's just a B minor note. There's a C note. Think about the here we start adding more like passing tones and stuff. You got your major pentatonic notes. got your matching pentatonics for each one. So I could be thinking E minor pentatonic, major for that D, and then minor pentatonic for B minor, major for C, that's part of that E minor right there. There's a D shape. B minor. C. Triads for D. B minor pentatonic. All right, so you get the idea on that one. Now this other one, we're gonna do the same type of thinking. We got E minor to C. So these are moving a lot faster. So we gotta think faster on our changes. So here you might think of something like, let's stay in this position up here. You got your E minor pentatonic. Now we're gonna go quick to the C. So think about the C and its triad kind of shape there. Kind of its arpeggio, but it only has 3 notes, so it's kind of more of a triad in that case. Now we got the B minor. When you go to one of these minors, it's kind of easier to bring in a minor 7. Because in a major, you bring in that major 7. Sometimes it's a little more than what you really want, but minor 7s are kind of more forgiving that way. So you might look at this E minor 7. Arpeggio, and then look at the C triad shape, and then you go to your B minor 7 arpeggio. So let's think about that and let's go. Let's get that little rhythm going. Now let's solo over it and be like, so what I did there is I bent to the E, came into the C, hit a B, back into my E minor scale, back to an E. So So just kind of using this scale, our E minor scale. So we got E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. So the only sharp is the F sharp. Because we're basically in the key of G, but we're in the E minor kind of tonality center kind of thing. So we got lots of different shapes for these chords. You got E minor, B minor, E minor over here. Okay, so let's try soloing on that one more time. Trying to pick out notes from E. Now another good one for C to know is that G right there. So that's part of your E minor pentatonic scale, right? And that note would sound good over an E minor chord or a C, right? Then when you get to the B chord, you'd have more of an F sharp in that chord than a G. So you wouldn't really hang on that one for that B chord. So you might go like something like, okay, so it's just ideas like that, trying to see where are the notes of a C chord within the position. And you know, the E minor 7 arpeggio is almost the whole pentatonic scale, but it does not have this A note in it. There's no 4 in it. Here's the notes for C, B minor 7, back to E minor. So how about you guys soloing that? I'll give you some more chords. 3, 4. All right, y'all, thanks a lot for watching. Check out that original Maggot Brain, the Eddie Hazel solo, or Eddie Hazel. And I hope you dug the thing from Selma, my friend. Hope that helped out a little bit. We'll talk to y'all soon.